Another night, another crash. Hopefully it's the only one. All right. As soon as the overtime's over here, we will kick this and restart the game here quick in hopes that we can avoid any more crashes. I'm not sure what exactly has been going on causing the crashes lately, but hopefully we can get that taken care of soon. Going. My mouse is jumping to different windows entirely. Oh no. That works. There we go. All right, so we've got 22 drivers on track today. There's still 28 minutes left to qualifying here, so plenty of time for other drivers to join. Up until that point, we will just follow some of these guys around. It looks like the first car out on the track is Parmesan here, so we will grab onto him and follow his first lap as he sets. As he sets our initial time. Now, Parmesan was the only driver in the practice session leading up to here to get into those 35s, into those 135s. We'll see if any of the others can creep in. Stoop and Jump Raven were both very close in that practice session to breaking into those 135s. However, they couldn't quite make it before that session ended there. So it looks like they'll have at least a little bit of competition up at the front of the field here. It is a long 45-minute race. Some people are planning one stops versus the two stops. based on the fuel usage that we have set. So we'll see how it plays out for everybody. It looks like Parmesan's first lap here, setting the time with a 1:36.481. We'll see who comes in behind here. Looks like Soup is coming in with a 1:37.7, followed by Rev with a 1:38.7, Brett with a 1:38.2. We will let the auto cam run for a little bit here. Hey, Base, how's it going?
Doing good. Sorry, for whatever reason, my Discord had the speaker like auto muted when I joined the thing, so I don't know what was going on there, but hello, we're here.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah,
yep, we've got Mr. Horatio Bustola set a 1:38.446 here.
Ooh.
So I think we'll see. I think we'll see quite a bit of spread here on the lap times overall. However, there should be some pretty close racing between a lot of these guys, based on the times that I was seeing in the practice session there. It is a 45-minute one, so it will be a lot more consistency based than just these hot laps. I know a lot of people have strong one-lap pace. However, when it starts to be consistent, that's when the mistakes start to shine through.
Especially at a track like this, Road Atlanta is such a fun, interesting track. There's so much elevation change.
Yep, it looked like Parmesan did manage to make his way back into those 135. We'll see if anybody else can break down in there. Both Soup and Jump Raven were close in the practice session leading up to this.
We see Brett Anderson break into the 37s. Lots of regulars that I'm looking forward to seeing how they perform tonight. This track with this car combo is especially good for drivers that are getting the ropes with more technical circuits and learning how to handle a car that is going through more weight changes in the weight distribution due to the track than a lot of other circuits other than, say, Laguna Seca. So
yeah,
lots to handle here.
Especially that last sector with that tight chicane into the blind downhill. Right-hander, the weight transfer there is absolutely massive for these guys. If you hit the line perfect, you gain a bunch of time. However, even just a little bit wide going in there and you're way offline and your car just slides out into the grass if you're not careful.
Hopping on with Parmesan here.
It looks like he just crossed over again here with the 135.6.
That purple sector 2 must have been huge because he was no better than his previous best attempts in sectors 1 and 3.
Yeah, and it looks like he may even be up on this lap.
Ooh.
Yeah, slightly.
Oh, man. Oh. Hanging onto the slipstream there. Really trying to take advantage of that, but hopping his way over the curbs. That exit, the curb on the right side of the car on the exit of that corner is especially deadly as it tapers off to the outside of the track, so it creates kind of a hump that you can, on accident or on purpose, kind of rest the center of the floor, the under tray of the car on, and it'll unsettle the car slightly. But if you get it just right, you can gain some good speed out of it, as you see Parmesan maximizing his use of the track, flying his way down the back straight. My goodness.
Yeah, he's consistently sub 136 at this point. So unless some of these other guys can find some pace, it looks like he might just run away with this one unless he gets caught up at the start.
The Raspberry Pi livery is sublime. That is an excellent livery. choice.
It is a very good livery. Definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, still a sub 136, even with the couple of mistakes that we saw there. Let's jump around and find somebody else who's up. Mr. Horatio here. See if we can hit him with a little commentator's curse here. Little bit of payback. Meanwhile, he's up half a second, so looks like if he can keep this one together, he didn't improve in sector 1. However, he is up a full second going through this tight turns at the end of the road here. Well on the pace to break into the 137s. We'll see if he can manage to get down to the 136s by the end of the session here. There's definitely a lot of time to find on this track, just in just trusting your car a little bit more through some of these blind sections.
Absolutely. You have to have a lot of faith and memory to handle the ups and downs, and especially when you don't know if there's going to be a car sideways, parked from some kind of major incident, which we will not assume will happen on this fine evening.
Looks like he did break in with a 137.7. Parmesan with another best sector 1 here. However, it looks like he did return to the pits here. Jump Raven with 136.9 will hang around on this lap to see if he can break a little bit closer to Parm here. Jump Raven has been known to go with those one-stop strategies and conserve his fuel a little bit longer, but so has Parmesan. Which I believe if you do it just right on this track, it does end up being advantageous to do so. Looks like Parmesan ran into traffic, so we'll jump around a little bit, see if we can find somebody on an improved lap here. Looks like Brett Anderson is up about 3/10.
Come on, Brett, you can do it.
Through sector 2.
Drop this.
Like he might have overslowed a little bit into that chicane. Lost a little bit of time, but it looks like he is going to have a slight improvement here. Crossing the line, it looks like a 137.6. Just passing Horatio there. Looks like Sam is up 3/10 right now. We'll jump on with him. Like he goes a little bit wide there. Compromises lap, a little bit of commentator's curse. We will jump down the line here a little bit until we find the next guy on a flyer. Like Deadly Daniel is up about a half second right now, halfway through sector 2.
Mr. Daniel.
Looks like as soon as we switched him, we hit him with the curse and he went a little wide. We'll see if he can improve here in sector 3. He's still only down about a 10th here. Jump around a little bit more. As Woohoo immediately goes wide as soon as we click over to him. So let's check out Spike here. Just starting a lap. Looks like he got a good exit out of the final corner there. We'll see if he can hold it through the lap here and improve off of his current 140. Oh. Jump down to the next. We're just going to cycle through here until we find the car on a flyer. It looks like We got an improvement here, pretty significant currently, about a second and a half. We'll see if there's some more time to find here. As currently he's at the back of the grid with a 44 for a clean lap. However, he does have a 1.6 second improvement going right now. We'll see if he can find a little bit more time. Like we got a little bit of improvement here, but not enough to push him up any of the positions. We will start back at the top here and cycle our way through. Like Jump Raven is right behind somebody, but potentially using that slipstream as an advantage going into the straight down here. Unfortunately, it looks like the car in front went off and he had to slow down quite a bit. We'll jump over to Soup, who is currently up about a 10th. He will break down into those 136s with the 136.8, currently P2. We'll jump over to Horatio, who is halfway through the track. Rev is up for an improvement right now, 137.7. Looks like he had a bit of a moment going to the chicane there, lost a ton of time. So we'll jump down to the next guy here, Sam, who is currently up a 10th, just going through Sector 1 here.
I believe Soup is... He may be up on his lap. I can't tell. No, it looks like he's down again.
Yeah, he got caught up in some traffic.
Poor guy.
Just jump up to make sure he's about 6 tenths down right now. So Sam goes a little wide. We'll jump over to Posh here, who is currently 3 tenths up. Just finishing up Sector 1 here. See if you can hold it together. Thank you to the, looks like we got 15 viewers currently watching across both channels. Feel free to give the channels a follow for future races as well as some POV streams. I'm going to start streaming on the Techly Racing channel a little bit more frequently, even outside of our regular events that we broadcast. So. Got Spike up here a little bit going into the final corners. Looks like he ended up breaking a little deep there and losing his time. Soup is just starting a flying lap. Like a decent exit. Keeps it on the track, but lost a little bit of time there. See if he can find any of that time back. Soup had a 136.1 in the practice session leading up to this, so he was the closest to bringing into those 135s to give Parmesan some competition at the front of the pack here. Jump Raven has won out on strategy before, though, so I wouldn't be shocked if we see something like that again. Looks like Soup does have a better exit here out of the corner. He's slowly ticking down on that delta, 100th at a time. At this point, every little bit helps. See if he can be a little brave through here without going too wide. He does manage to improve slightly. A couple hundredths up going through the final corner. It looks like he carried a lot of speed going through here, but he had to lift going through that final corner there. Like a very, very slight improvement. Trying to figure out why this window keeps closing on me here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wedges. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but we'll jump on with one of these other guys here. Like Raven's about halfway through the out lap there. Brett is just about to start a flyer. We'll see if he can improve any throughout this lap here. We'll jump down through the rest of the pack as well, depending on how this goes for Brett. You can hear that heavy downshift going through that first corner to let the engine braking rotate the car, which is something that we don't see everybody doing on this track, but it is something that I've found to be one of the more efficient ways. As long as you don't blow up your transmission doing it. He might have been a little wide there, but he is up 2/10. We'll see if it was clean or not. Looks like he did manage to get a PB through that sector without a track cut. But did lose quite a bit of speed going through here. He's still up a 10th as long as there was no track limit violation on the exit of the chicane there. Should see him improve. Yep, he is about 7/10 behind Horatio here. Jump Raven is down 2/10 on his lap, so we'll let him come around again here. Dupe is just starting a flyer. We'll see if he can manage to improve on this lap time here towards the front of the pack. Looking through live timings here, we do see quite a few of these guys who are improving slowly. Got about 9 minutes left of the qualifying session here. Looks like Soup did end up getting caught up in some traffic here, unfortunately. Gonna have to take another go. Jump Raven currently up 2/10 through the first corner.
A little over 8 minutes remaining here. Looking for anybody else to crack in potentially to the low 36s.
Yeah, currently Jump Raven is up about a half second on his lap time here, so see if he can manage to hang it together and potentially improve even more. Currently he's on the pace for a P2 tentative P2 in qualifying here.
Just about a 10th between him and Soup.
Yep, he did lose about 2/10 off of his improvement in the middle of sector 2 there. But we'll see if he can manage to get a decent exit here and close that gap down. It looks like he's going to manage it as long as he doesn't end up wide here to
It's looking good
pass
for Jump
Soup
Raven.
currently for a tentative P2. And we'll see if he can manage to improve on another lap here. We'll jump around the grid a little bit, see where some people are
Logos. Mogo's starting to catch up too. 37-0.
Currently in the pits. I'm not sure if he's happy with that or if he wants to grab another one here. Looks like Sam Smith is up about a quarter of a second already, just through the first turn there. 3/10 going into the first chicane here. Looks like he's off to a solid start on this lap. We'll see if he can jump up the grid a little bit. He's 3/10 back on rev right now, so if he can manage to improve more than that, he is in a good place. We see him go a little wide there. However, the track limits at Road Atlanta do allow a little bit of abuse of that curb without violating a track cut and sacrificing your time. Looks like he had a little bit of a sketchy exit there out of turn 8. And lost a lot of the time on the straight here. We'll finish this lap out with him because he is still on pace for an improvement. But after this, we will jump around the grid a little bit more and see if anybody else is out for an improvement.
Oh my goodness. A lot of these drivers just a tenth away from the driver in front of them, or 2. Man, it gets really tight in the midfield. Oh my goodness. Some of these drivers sitting on nearly identical times to each other.
Yeah, if we go through and we look at the behind leader here, we get a second to jump Raven here, and then it goes all the way down to P8 before it jumps to 2 seconds, and then from P8 all the way to P17 before it jumps to a 3-second gap here. So it looks like everybody's going to have somebody to race, which is what we're always hoping for on these grids here. Jump around a little bit here. See if we can find somebody out for an improvement. We see Sam up again. I really want to follow his lap because he had such a strong start to the previous lap. However, I do not want to hit him with the commentator's curse.
Yes.
Which I just did.
Oh no.
We will
small disaster, Sam. We're so sorry.
We will,
Sam, that is our fault.
Sam, for the rest of this qualifying session.
Yes.
Because
Sam,
every time
please.
we go over there, he ends up in the
poor
wall.
guy.
Poor Sam.
The invisible hand.
There's like bullets
pushing the rear of his car.
About 3/10 here, finishing out a lap. I'm not sure if that improved his position at all, but we'll hang in here and see if he can manage to get another improvement on the following lap, because he's already up a ton just through the first turn here. Looks like sounds like a little bit of a late shift there, unfortunately. Lost a lot of the momentum going through that corner without the engine helping to rotate the car. But he is still up for an improvement on this lap. We'll jump around here a little bit. Jump Raven up a quarter of a second, but getting caught up behind traffic potentially. We'll see what's going on in front. I believe that is Soup right in front of him. Nope, that would be Brett Anderson, who's also using... I thought that was a Minnesota Wild livery, but it is not. That is a 7-Up livery there.
Just as good, honestly. Maybe even better, if I were to speak as a Colorado Avalanche fan. Regardless, thank you, Brett, for being here.
We've got
always looking forward.
Jump did end up losing a little bit of time in the traffic there.
However, that is a shame.
We'll hang out through this final turn and see if he can find it back. He's only down about a 10th, which you could easily find in this last section here. But it looks like he did not. He lost about another 10th going through there. So we'll jump around. See if we can find anybody on a flyer or about to start one. Anyone except for Sam, because we keep killing his laps. So we're going to jump down. Posh, it looks like Posh is on a decent start of his lap, but unfortunately lost it. So we'll jump over to Woohoo, who is currently down about a half second. Jump on with Noah here, who is currently on pace with his PB, or his session best here, for qualifying, and see if he can manage to find any time. We just saw Jump Raven off in the dirt, abandoned a lap here. There is time for these guys to leave the pits and get one more flyer in before the end of the session, due to the overtime rules that are in play. Got Max Yang up in his 7-Up livery with a slight improvement over his current time. He is currently only 0.02 of a second behind Pogo, and a 1/10 of a second behind Scrub.
We do have a driver within 1 second of Parm, which is great to see. Jump Raven, P2, only 9/10 away. Soup is only 2/10 away from him. Man, literally everybody down the field is within 2/10 of the driver in front of them. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
how close this
I'm
field
excited.
is.
I'm excited. This should be some tight racing here. And Max Yang, unfortunately, toying with his best lap, but not quite able to get there. I think he actually might have almost perfectly matched it on that last lap there. Yeah, he put in a 38.325, and his best lap is a 38.322. So at least he's consistent on that pace. So we'll jump around one more time here. We've got Soup with a 1/4 second. Just looking at these delta times. Brett is going to manage to get across the line in time to do one more flyer here, so we'll tag in with him later. We got Soup up 3/10 on his current lap, which is going to be enough time to close that gap down to Jump Raven. Potentially even close that gap down a little bit closer to Parmesan. Got a lot of the guys in the pits here. A couple guys still out on track, so we will hang in here with Soup, who is 4/10 up on his best lap, potentially locking in that P2 position if he can come across the line, considering Jump Raven is in the pit still. We got about 2/10. He's gonna have to push real hard around this corner in order to close that down with Jump Raven, and he doesn't quite make it. He's about a 1/2 of a 10th back from Jump Raven, but he may attempt to go for another flyer. I'm not sure if there's going to be enough time on the track. We got Woohoo just starting another lap. Max Yang coming across a little behind his lap time. We had Aaron come across right behind him. I think the only car on track who could potentially improve would be Scrub, but it looks like he is not on a flyer. And Bullet, who is on an outlap. So the only person who could potentially improve at this point was Soup. However, he did go a little wide through the dirt there and lost a bunch of time, as well as invalidating his lap. So all right, so let's look through these gaps here, because these should be our final standings going in. We've got 2 drivers within 1 second of Parmesan, and then P4 through P7 all within 2 seconds. P8 all the way down to P16 within 3 seconds, and then the rest of the grid trailing in a little bit further behind. Hopefully get some consistency and stay safe throughout the race in order to prevent any unfortunate situations here. Looks like Woohoo is potentially going to finish his lap here. He was up for an improvement, but comes just short as the race finishes up here. Oh, we do have Scrub crossing the line with an improvement. 3/10 jumps him up to P9. Got a little bit of a countdown here up until the race session starts.
What a great qualifying session.
Yeah, everybody's really close. We lived through on the gaps here. We've got Jump Raven and...
Click the timetable entry.
It won't let me because of the auto start app.
I see. Okay. I see.
Making my mouse jump over to where the info panel, or where the drive button is supposed to be. I have to turn that one off. I'm wondering if that's part of the reason why my game's having those crashes. All right. So, run down the grid here real quick. I can manage to get to the front. All right, so we've got Parmesan in P1, Jump Raven in P2, Soup P3, Mogo P4, Brett Anderson, Horatio Buttola, Rev 174, Sam S, Grub 224, Posh, Mega Mew in P10. I think that's the best start of the season for Mega Mew there. We've got Woohoo Man. I'm running out of time here. Lights up and away we go. Oh, we got somebody jumping at the back there. Unfortunately. Making the way down to T1. We've got that jump start. Hopefully we don't have too much of a situation coming through T1 here. There's usually at least a little bit of contact, a little bit of... Got a few cars caught up, but I think that might be one of the best T1s that we have had at Road Atlanta in a long, long time here.
Beautiful. So we see Parm leading us through the field. Soup following closely behind. Mogo taking a jump into P4. Jump Raven himself falling back into P5. Horatio up into P6. Brett falling down to P7. Sam S doing a great job.
That looks like Jump Raven fell back to P4, as you stated, but the grid is going to be super close together here for a while. Try and keep an eye on where the closest fights are right now. Soup is only 3/4 of a second back from Parmesan. However, I do anticipate that Parmesan will separate that gap throughout the race here. We got Sam S within 2/10 of Rev, directly in front of him here. Followed by Scrub, who is only 7/10 behind here. Come on, car. Camera. There we go. Sam had a bit of a moment, allowing Scrub to stick his nose in on the inside of the track there. Why am I... My car was not in the pits.
Last night.
Yeah, auto start definitely did not work.
No. It hasn't. It's been a little goofy recently.
cameras are being all weird too. I don't want the bumper cam. All right. We've got Woohoo within a half second here of Pogo ahead. Keep an eye on some of these gaps. Parmesan has already separated that gap out with Soup to 1.7 seconds, and we're only a couple laps in. We have Max Yang here right on the bumper of Bullet. Let's just go with the tried and true.
Ooh. Pogo and Woohoo Man coming together. Somewhere on track. Looked like it might have even been a bump draft. It was interesting to see some of the discussion happening in the pre-race in-game chat. Saw some drivers talking about the strategy that was used in the earlier European race, the European time zone race. And some of them saying that the one stop was the most efficient way to do it, but you had to do a lot of fuel saving to make the one stop work. So you'll see a combination as we see, oh, somebody flying off the track there. Who was that, Mr. Spike? I believe that was Mr. Spike.
Yeah, looks like Spike did fall off the track there a little bit.
Oh,
Looks
finding
like
a safe place to
Anderson
rejoin.
also had a bit of a moment here and has fallen back quite a few positions out of the S's here.
Oh no! Spinning himself, slowly getting back under control of the wheel.
Yep,
Lots of cars
riding
flying
us out.
past at high speed. My goodness.
Yeah, the entire grid so far is still pretty close together. We got Jump Raven here. My controller is completely inverted for some reason.
Oh my goodness. Some technical difficulties.
One of those nights here. So we got Jump Raven within striking distance of Rev 174 here. We got Noah within striking distance of Bullet, a little bit further behind. With that half-second gap, we got Mega Mew 4/10ths back on Rick as Jump Raven gives a little bit of a tap to Rev here. Unfortunately, Brett has fallen back to P16 after this event here to accommodate some of the issues that I'm having. I am going to just stick with the strat cameras.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get there.
There we go.
Hooray. Excellent.
With Mega Mew is in P18. Rick
Nichols
right behind here. And Jump Raven within 3/10ths still of Rev. Ratio within 7/10ths here of Mogo, pushing hard on the back of that Planet Express racer. We do have 22 cars on track tonight, which is, I think, a little less than we were anticipating. However, it is still a pretty decent turnout for a Monday night.
It's a great grid, and this is probably the longest train of cars that I've seen in one of these MX5 races, especially almost 10 minutes into the race here.
Yeah, we've got a few decent gaps. We got a gap from Horatio to Jump Raven of 8 seconds. However, behind that, everybody's within a second or two of each other, all the way down to Sam here. Keep an eye on some of these close battles as Horatio and Mogo are right on each other's bumpers going into T1 here.
You have to wonder if Soup is going to go for the one stop and Parm is going to go for the two because he's so quick.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I know Soup had some issues on Friday with the GT3 race at Le Mans with running out of fuel, I believe.
Oh boy.
So we'll see if that's a trend that continues, or we did manage to set him up with race essentials, so hopefully that will alleviate the fuel issue that he's been encountering. Keep an eye on Horatio and Mogo as they are bumper to bumper still lap after lap. And probably one of the tightest battles that we've had in quite a while here.
The gap is beginning to open up between some of these groups, but especially between Horatio and Mr. Mogo here. If they're able to push each other into contention for even potentially a P2, P3,
yeah,
we're
definitely.
going to see what they can get done.
They are both very quick, very consistent drivers who've been around with us for a long time here.
Parm nearly equaling his qualifying lap time.
Yeah, we are 10 minutes in. If he's planning on that two-stop, he could be running 15 minutes of fuel and reaching that quali fuel amount already at this point in the race. Looks like Horatio has fallen back a little bit from Rev. We'll poke around the grid here, see if there's any small gaps that are a little bit closer. Keep an eye on that fight, but it looks like Pogo is currently on the attack of Woohoo Man within 7/10 going down the front straight here.
Heading down into the S's. Let's see what he can make up on his opponent, Woohoo Man. Woohoo making a small mistake, going wide and leaning on the curb, upsets the balance of the car, and now he's going to give up momentum to Pogo and the slipstream down the hill into the S's. Who's going to be bravest around the famous left-hand corner? And what do we see here? Pogo making the move around the outside, sets himself up for the racing line, going into the downhill entry with the cambered right-hand corner. A fantastic corner to drive, even without a car with high downforce.
Yep, but he goes a little bit wide, allowing Woohoo back into the fight.
Maybe we see some teamwork here. They need to push each other. It looks like we are going to see a little bit of teamwork. They're going to try to catch up to Scrub and Rev.
Yeah, we
looks
can
like
see
Rev
Sam.
has made it up to jump right.
We can see Sam in the background there. We've got Mogo. He's actually behind Horatio. We missed that overtake there into the final chicane. Let's see if he can hold it. As that is one of the closest gaps. We've got Deadly Daniel here making a move on Scrub as well, within 0.2 of a second of him going into T1. And Mogo manages to get on the inside through the S's on Horatio as they fight their way through the corners and use all of the track available to them in order to push down into the tight double right-hander here for turn 6 and turn 7.
Oh, handfuls of oversteer from Mogo. Puts him at the back foot, heading into the long straight. Let's see if they're going to work together here. It looks like he's going to back off, try to slip into the toe of Mr. Horatio in front of him. They are seemingly sticking roughly around the pace of Soup. They won't be helping each other with this much fighting and side-by-side action, but we're going to see if they can...
Yeah, but I'm sure they're having an absolute blast right now,
So jealous, man. A lot of really... Oh, see Spike having a big crash to the environment at the top of the hill. Hopefully he can get out of the way of Parm, the leader. Coming up, we do have Parm and Soup just now beginning to overtake some of the drivers at the back of the field.
We have Rev closed down within a half second of Jump Raven here. Jump Raven has closed that gap down to Mogo and Horatio from 8 seconds to 7 seconds. So we'll see if they can continue to push each other forward on the grid here.
Jump Raven, he's someone to keep an eye on. He fell back mysteriously. I'm not sure exactly what happened there on lap 1, but he fell back all the way down to, what, seemingly 8th place. We're going to have to keep an eye on him as the race goes forward. He's just out of eyeshot of these two drivers, though.
Yep, there he is, right? Oh, no, that is lap traffic. So if we get a good camera angle here, we can see Mogo does manage to overtake Horatio going into this corner and come back around.
Much smoother input this time. Sets himself up for a good run down the back straight. Hopefully, Horatio will give the friendly bump and they can keep this this battle alive, and hopefully their chances of a double podium alive.
Yeah, I mean, they're back quite a ways from Soup at this point. They're about 12 seconds back.
But Jump Raven has gained another second
Jump Raven
on them
right
already.
in the back there as well.
Oh yeah.
So
He's moving.
They're definitely dragging each other back with the amount of fighting that they have going on.
But they're having fun. They're having a good time.
Oh yeah, that's all that really matters. But Jump Raven is dragging Rev up into this fight with him, as well as some lap traffic here.
That M Black.
That's M Black in the middle of these guys right now. Looks like Horatio has fallen back about a second here. See if he can manage to keep it up. We'll jump back in with Rev here, who is still keeping his bumper glued to Jump Raven going through these corners. Knowing Rev, he's gonna do everything that he can to work with Jump Raven to get towards the front of the pack here. He knows Jump Raven's one of the quicker drivers on the track. We've got Woohoo back here. Within 3/10 of our Krusty Krab racer there. Pushing his way through. Within the drafting range of these cars, which is about a half a second, we've got Max Yang closing in here on Rick Nicholson as well. For P17, it looks like he's going to go for the dive into the first turn, but it looks like he did back out at the last second there. We'll jump back up to some of these guys. We've got Woohoo and Sam fighting still. We've got Horatio within a second of Mogo still. And we've got Rev glued to that bumper of Jump Raven. Just slowly creeping their way back up towards Mogo, who is still in that 12-second gap range from Soup. However, Soup has fallen back about 8.5 seconds from Parmesan at this point. If Rev can manage to stick close to Jump Raven up until the pit stop, which we should be closing in on for the drivers going for a 2-stop. However, anybody who's fuel saving for a 1-stop is going to want to hold out for another about 7 to 8 minutes of fuel before they pit. As Rev drifts around T7, loses a little bit to Jump Raven. However, we will see. It looks like Parmesan is going into the pits here for the first stop of the race. And we will see where that goes from here. Horatio within 7/10 of Mogo roughly. As well, we got Woohoo within 6/10 of Sam in front. We've still got lots of tight groups going on, as well as some of the lap traffic getting in the middle of some of these battles. So Parmesan did pit. I'll be curious to see where he comes out. It looks like it's going to be P4 behind Mogo and Horatio. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to fuel save for 28 minutes.
If he can tuck back into the slipstream, he may be able to, but I should say, not Parmesan, but Horatio. Interesting to see him come out already in 4th place. How hard are the other driver's going to make it for him to get past? How much will they slow him down?
Oh, I mean, knowing Horatio and Mogo, they're both going to fight with their elbows out. They're not just going to give the free pass here. Looks like Parmesan is tucked into the slipstream of a lapped car here of Max Yang to try and close that gap down a little bit to Horatio and Mogo in the front.
Still about 2 seconds back. Horatio slowly closing the gap in on Mogo again. He's gained on a couple tenths here, but Parm is looming in the background now.
Yeah, we got a couple more drivers have ducked into the pits here. We switch this to our gaps from the leader. We can see how spread out this field truly is, even though it doesn't look like it. Brett Anderson in P11 is about 50 seconds back currently. Looks like that closed down. It must be a timing thing. Jumping into the 40s roughly.
We see Spike getting into it with... Is that Mogo? Oh no. Oh no. Mogo and Spike with some contact. That is unfortunate.
Switch this back to our intervals so we can see Parmesan has made it past Horatio. However, he is sitting right on the bumper here of Mogo. See what kind of a move he can make. We'll see if Mogo squeezes him over as far as he can, but it doesn't look like he's going for the defensive play here. He probably doesn't want to lose too much time to Horatio fighting the clearly faster driver at this point in the race.
That was a professional and clean overtake by Mr. Parm. It looks like Mogo
peel into the pits here.
Yes.
Allowing Horatio to end up in that net P3. Jump Raven has managed to close that gap to Horatio down to 3 seconds. And still has his pit stop to make as well here. So we'll see how many of you guys are fuel saving to the point where they're going to be able to one-stop this. I'm not confident that Parmesan's going to be able to do this on one pit stop.
I would act. There's just no way. I think he's looking for a late pit stop too, where he can have his gap extended as far as it can be.
Right, just a splash and dash at the end there, but he is.
But
11
it's
seconds
looking
back
it's looking tough
with an extra pit stop here.
It's looking tough. I mean, he's gonna have to. He's doing what he needs to do. He just set a purple sector 1. We're gonna have to continue to follow him. He is now. There are no cars between him and Soup at the moment. There's one back marker, one car near the back of the pack, I should say. Soup looks like diving into the pits. Soup is entering the pits as we speak. He is at about. He's hit the wall, but looks like that's okay. He survived it.
Yeah, we are at about the halfway point. For those drivers who are going to be guaranteeing a one stop, I would expect them to get one more lap out before they pit. But we've got both Soup and Horatio and Jump Raven all dove into the pits on this last lap. I'm wondering if they're at the end of their fuel tanks currently.
This has got to be just the extension of what half of the race is. 23 and a half minutes in, they exit the pits with about 22 and change minutes to go. Soup exiting the pits now. That should be just enough fuel, I imagine, just a liter or two more than what he just ran with, and should be good with the rest of the race. Spike and Rick Nicholson seem to have crashed. Big coming together. Top of Sector 1 as well. Spike currently off track. Seems to be rejoining safely. Rick continuing on.
Got some pretty pretty significant gaps here. Parmesan did manage to end up about 16 seconds ahead of Soup, so given the pace that Parmesan has shown, he may be able to fuel save very heavily for the rest of this race in order to secure that P1 position, even with that 28-minute stint.
We'll see. I mean, his pace currently, his last lap was a 35.8. What that's telling me is his car does not weigh enough to be carrying an extra, say, 10 minutes of fuel in it at the moment. He just came out of the pits 1 or 2 laps ago, so
yeah, he just set a purple sector 2 as well, so a 35.7.
Yeah, I would with the grip ramping up. I don't know. Did you guys have it set at 100 or did it ramp up a bit?
It should be static at full grip.
Static at full. Okay. Well, either way, with his I should say with the repetition and his confidence gaining, he should be setting purple sectors if the car is able to take it. As we see, woohoo man struggling. Bullet going wide up T1. And Woohoo tucking into the
diving into the pits here. The Woohoo, I'd say, has a guarantee for how much fuel he needs in order to get through.
Oh yeah, he should be easy.
We've got Horatio and Mogo battling it out again here for P3. Trying not to let Jump Raven close down, but that gap has expanded between Horatio and Jump Raven from 3 seconds to 5. So I'm wondering if Jump Raven got caught up in some traffic or had a little bit of a moment there.
Let's see. Has Jump Raven taken? He has taken his pit stop. It's like that was that. It was coming out of the pits. It looked like he had a bit of a slower outlap, leaving the pits. Judging by what some of the other drivers have done in the pit lane.
We got a really tight fight here right now for P16 with 3 drivers all within a second of each other. Have a little bit of netcode there as Bullet flickers in and out. However, we do have that collision prevention enabled or disconnects as we see a car phase through another car here.
Oh.
Looks like that gap is spreading out a little bit here. We'll jump back over to Horatio, who is within a half a second of Mogo going through the final turn. And they are going to be catching up on lap traffic on this lap. We will keep an eye on Mogo's camera, as he will be the first one encountering this lap traffic. He's currently on an improvement for his best lap of the session here. Running up into the S's is definitely not the spot where you want to catch that lap traffic. But we do see some of the guys in front are jumping out of the way for these for these faster cars. But not quite enough. Horatio managed to close that down below 2/10, and Mogo has a moment of snap oversteer and ends up wide. So now Mogo is on the attack, about a 1.5 seconds back from Horatio. I believe Mogo pit a lap earlier as well. So the fuel saving is going to be saving is going to be a factor here. He's not going to want to push too hard,
especially with his tires being just a little that much older than Horatio's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't anticipate that they change their tires for the race. Mostly just because it takes so long, and the MX5 tires are just rocks. So
that is true. Thank you, Assetto Corsa, circa 2014. Stock vehicles are very fun to play with. These tires are just very funny because they're very old.
Yeah, the older tire model on these cars. looks like our grid has spread out quite a bit. The closest gaps we have are currently Rick Nicholson and Noah fighting for P17 and P12. So we'll jump back and take a look at Noah's attack on Woohoo Man as we give Mogo a little bit of breathing room to try and close that gap back down to Horatio. Jump Raven is closing that gap down slowly to Mogo as well. Rick Nicholson here being lapped traffic, also fighting his own race, but trying not to get in the way of that battle between Horatio and Mogo. Got Sam close that gap down within a second of Scrub, but he is jumping into the pits here, it looks like.
Sam is.
We got Mogo closing that gap down to about a second on Horatio here, but he is stuck behind the lap traffic going through turn 5 out of the S's. Looks like he got through pretty clean, didn't lose too much time going through there.
Very clean.
Really jump well around the grid a little bit to see if we can see anything closing down.
Thanks to everyone who is joining us for this evening. We really appreciate the support here on Real Rookie Racing and Techly Racing. If you want to join us, check the description of this live stream here. Join the Discord. You don't need necessarily a racing wheel. You could have a controller or even play on keyboard and mouse. And if you get the hang of it, this is the kind of stuff you can be participating in, so.
Yep, we
come on over.
As Mogo closes that gap, Horatio must have made a mistake going through that final chicane here, as Mogo gets ahead going into the final straight and through T1. It looks like he spread that gap out a little bit on Horatio.
An excellent entry heading into the S's downhill. A beautiful section of track. One camera angle. Get it all as we see Horatio with a twitch of oversteer there, having to use the slipstream just to barely hang on.
Yeah, he is just at the edge of that slipstream range. We'll see if he can make the move into these turn 6-7, as this has been his most successful attacking point so far, is 6-7 and then down into that final chicane. He did manage to close that gap down to 0.3 of a second here. We'll see if he goes for a move going down into this chicane here as he closes down within 0.1 of a second. They are touching bumpers right now. We see a little bit of bump drafting go on. We'll see if Buggy's going to peel away or if he's going to trust him and follow him through the corner. Looks like they're looking to work together to keep that gap to Jump Raven behind right now. But I anticipate some hard racing throughout the rest of the series here. Rick Nicholson.
Oh, man.
Bullet pulled in the pits, allowing Rick Nicholson to get past here. So we'll keep an eye on this battle between Horatio and Mogo as they go into the S's here. We see Mogo taking a lot more of that curve than Horatio is, carrying a little bit more speed, but Horatio getting a better line through the S's themselves. And turn 5 into this straight down into 6-7, allowing him to close that gap down a little bit more.
I may have our pit lane reporter joining us here momentarily.
Oh,
We do have a pit. I'm in communication. Hold on, I'm getting word from our pit lane reporter. In just a moment, we should have an interview from someone who isn't driving tonight, but he has been on the sidelines listening to the drivers as they come into the pit lane. Should have him looking to see where he's at right now. This is a long-winded intro. I'm really trying to hand this one up. Come on. Let's see. There we go. All
looks
right.
like our gaps are spread out a little bit here. Mr. Jawa.
Our pit lane reporter, Jawa. What's it sounding like in the pit lane there?
Well, good evening, gentlemen. It's sounding a mix of hectic communication and multiple different strategies going on throughout the race tonight. We're seeing a few drivers deciding to go for that one stop, trying to stretch the field just a little bit longer. But we still do see the majority of the grid going with that two stop, just playing it extra safe. But the majority of things I'm hearing down in pit lane is utter chaos.
It appears to have been that way. It looks like we now see Parmesan is only 6.5 seconds ahead of Soup, which means which is on our live timing page. He has taken his second pit stop. So now Parm is running to the end of the race for the final 11 minutes. And we're seeing the effects of the two stop strategy here. He's been able to extend and make it work.
Yeah, sadly, I wasn't able to grab the engineers or teams from Soup and Parmesan there to get any conversation out of them. They were too busy taking care of the cars that came into pit lane. But Parmesan does seem to be sticking with that two-stop strategies. Real quick splash and dash around the 15-minute mark seemed to be quite enough. But Soup is doing a wonderful job staying just inside of that range of being able to see Parmesan and knowing where his and looking for his next move.
I agree. It's been really entertaining to see, especially Mogo and Horatio work together to try to catch back up to Soup, see if they can each put their hands on the podium themselves, as we see Rev diving into the pit lane in P6. He was right behind Jump Raven, but it seems his two-stop strategy is coming into effect now. He's going to lose, I imagine, a handful of places.
Potentially, it's a 20-second gap there between Rev and Scrub, so potentially this slash and dash might work out for him.
Let's see. Rev is he moving? No, he just came to a stop right now. Let's see. He is moving. He's moving again. Scrub is going to get past him, but we're going to see if Rev is going to have the advantage on pace. Really interesting to see how they've been shaking out. It's What have we heard? What have the teamwork strategies been like down on the back straight? Has it been mostly letting each other fight for the position in sector 2, and then once they get to the back straight, they work together, try to use the bump draft strategy?
Yeah, so we've seen a few different strategies. Like you said, the vast majority of drivers are choosing just to kind of fight it out amongst themselves. You did mention Mogo and Horatio having their little bit of teamwork there. From what I've been hearing from the drivers, they seem to be going back and forth between who's in front and who's behind, just depending on their pace at that current moment in time. But they seem to be really just enjoying now the battle for P3 there. They seem to have not kind of given up on the idea of catching up with Soup at this point. Soup we do see going for that one-stop strategy, and I'm not sure if Mogo will be able to last the entire race with his current pit strategy.
Has dipped into the pits, allowing Horatio to get past. And Jump Raven. So he lost the position to both Horatio and Jump Raven with this extra pit stop in here. We do have a pretty tight battle right now for P7 between Rev, Pogo, and Brett as well.
Jump Raven strategy working out really well here.
Yeah, I've seen him falling back slightly. I presume to save the fuel to make it to the end of the race here. However, Mogo does have 7 minutes to close up a gap as much as he possibly can here.
That's true. Every time I look at the screen, I'm thinking, oh man, it's not enough time. But these laps run down so quickly at Road Atlanta that you forget how much action can happen even just a minute.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the time left, there's at least 5 laps of racing left, probably 6 at this point for most of these guys, as Parmesan just crossed the start-finish line with 7 minutes left. So that means that he's going to have 5 more laps. And these guys who are not lapped yet are going to have 6 more laps, including the lap that they're on now.
This has been excellent racing so far. Have we had, yeah, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we'll keep an eye on that mogul gap, but I don't anticipate him being able to close up that gap to Jump Raven with the time remaining. But we'll keep an eye on it and see if he manages to close anything down or not.
Absolutely. Have we heard much bickering in the VC, or has it just mostly been laughs and a good time, Jawa?
No, it's definitely been mostly good times. Been a few dang it moments from a few drivers just making small mistakes on track, but for the most part, no bickering, no issues, all friendly competition on track.
That's what we like to hear. That is really what the server's all about, and why we see such big grids, especially for a Mazda Miata MX5 Monday race here at Road Atlanta. We do have this is a seasonal race. This is race 3 of 5, as you can see on our CMRT complete HUD as we see Pogo hard into the wall.
Moment over the curb there. Hopefully,
oh my goodness,
he doesn't lose too much. He lost the position to Brett there. However, he is back on track and moving. He did lose a lot of momentum going through the S's, but the gap back to Woohoo Man is fairly significant. So he shouldn't be too hurt after that one, especially after 40 minutes of driving on this track. Gonna catch another moment there with Noah unfortunately losing the rear. So we'll jump back to Aaron here, who is closing this gap down to Rick Nicholson for P18. Goes a little wide through the dirt, and Parmesan has to take an evasive action in order to avoid contact coming out of the S's there out of turn 5. Our grid has spread out quite a bit. We do have Posh on the attack of Noah here. See a little bit of bump drafting between the two of them, pushing each other forward here. I believe that's Bullet right in front, who is not racing for position. Jump around here a little bit more. Most of these gaps are closed out. The closest fight we have right now is this battle for P13, with Posh within a half a second of Noah ahead. Getting caught up in the lap traffic with the pressure of Parmesan from behind. As Bullet is lagging a little bit, we see the cars phasing through each other. Fortunately, I do have that set to allow for 5 seconds as Noah ends up wide in the dirt, closing down that gap. We have Sam S on the bumper here of Woohoo Man ahead.
Just under 3 minutes to go. 9-second gap from the leader, with Soup in P2. Horatio, it seems, 23 seconds behind Mr. Soup. For the first of our podium finishers. Close behind.
Yeah, Jump Raven appears to be closing down on Horatio here. Let's See if I can get that pulled up here.
Horatio's last lap was a 1:39. He may be trying to extend, or he ran into some lap traffic.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the lap time delta here. And that's just the last lap comparison. In Sector 2, he lost 1.2 seconds on Jump Raven. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll jump back here to Sam, who is pushing on Woohoo for P10 to round out the top 10 here. Soup and Horatio both dipping into the pits here. Jump Raven pulling past. Horatio was not able to fuel save quite enough, knocking him off of that podium position, allowing Jump Raven to get ahead here. Looks like Mogo is going to manage to catch up to Horatio on the pit exit. We will have a continuation of our battle here. We saw Sam did manage to sneak by Woohoo Man. So we'll keep an eye on that timing for Woohoo Man, as well as the timing there between Horatio and Mogo, which is within a second of each other. Pogo having to dip into the pits for a last second splash and dash as well, as the white flag is out and Parmesan crosses the line to start his final lap of this race. Sam manages to make his way up to P9 with Pogo's pit stop, as well as Woohoo back up to P10. Pogo is closing that gap. Brett is closing that gap to Pogo as well on that pit exit. That slash and dash, we've got Rev within 3/10 here of Scrub just ahead. But they've only got about a lap and a half to do it here, because anybody behind Parmesan is not going to have an opportunity here. So we'll see if Reb can manage to get past Scrub 224 in that Scrub Motorsport livery. And it looks like he manages to push it down into turn 10, the chicane here, and see if he can hold it out for an extra lap here. He has separated that gap to about 3/4 of a second, but they do have one more lap to go. We got Brett Anderson in P12 pushing on Pogo as well. But they are on their final lap as they are behind Parmesan and have been lapped at this point. Anybody P10 or below is going to finish their race on this lap.
Jeez. What a dominant performance by Parm.
You got Woohoo coming across. Looks like Grub in P11. The gaps get all messed up because of finishing positions here.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm watching on here. We see Bullet and Black have crossed the finish line. Still waiting on Soup in Sector 2. Coming in to finish P2, a strong performance by Soup. An excellent job. Well done, Soup. Mogo is in Sector 3 right now, with Horatio close in tow. Jump Raven. Did Jump Raven fall back again? Oh my goodness. I thought he was in third. What happened?
Thought he was too.
He was. We're going to have to find out what happened there, because Mogo just crossed the line on P3. Horatio close behind.
I wonder
Pogo.
if Jump Raven ran out of
Jump
fuel?
Raven still. He did. I think he did. It looks like he ran out of fuel. He's slowly crawling down the course. Oh, Jump Raven.
Down the line.
No.
Unfortunate for Jump Raven
no.
here.
Oh, what a shame. Jump Raven slowly
As he
in
crosses
P6.
the
Oh,
line here.
great drive. A shame. Pour one out for Jump Raven. As we see Deadly Daniel
finishing up his race, followed closely by Scrub.
Sam
and
S, our final driver.
S, the final driver in P9 here.
Woo. What a drive. What a race. An excellent job to all our drivers here. And thank you all so much for hanging out for one of our season Mazda Miata events at Real Rookie Technic Racing. What do you think about that one, Josh?
It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of close racing. Everybody was super close throughout the course of the race there. I'm looking back at our qualifying results here, and we had Parmesan, Jump Raven, Soup, Mogo, Brett, and Horatio for the top 6 here. But I think the only one who finished where they started was Parmesan.
Wow. Wow. That is crazy.
Waiting for the final results to come in here, but we got to wait for this overtime to finish, which may be waiting on the broadcast truck here. But that overall, that was a very exciting race. Lots and lots of close battling, lots of tight fights, and we saw those who were able to fuel save did have a full advantage of the race. So looking back at the final results, which are posted now, we've got Parmesan P1, Soup P2, Mogo P3, and Horatio P4. Jump Raven fell all the way down to P6 with that fuel. And Rev managed to jump up to P5 at the end there.
Oh, no. Well, I do, and we got to shout out Deadly Daniel, up 9 positions.
Up 9.
In P7.
Yeah, to P7. Hell
and
of a
Mr.
drive.
Brett Anderson finishing P12 down 7 places. Pour one out for Brett.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Brett had such great pace in qualifying. It's you know, I'm looking forward to seeing him in the next one. I'm sure he's got a good comeback cooking for the next race. Speaking of the next race, what's happening with the next for race number 4?
Race number 4 is currently scheduled to be Mid-Ohio.
Ooh,
on
that's a great track.
September 8th, and then we'll round out. Currently, it's scheduled as Indianapolis, but I believe that final race is set to change after some validation of another track here. So, I will catch everybody
Mystery track
on Friday for the GT3 season race as well.
Yes, indeed. We do have a
so-
few more throughout the rest of the week, but for stream, we'll catch you guys Friday. Thanks so much for joining us from the pit lane, Mr. Jawa, and thank you to our audience for hanging out and enjoying a nice little Monday evening Mazda Miata race.
All right. With that, I will end the stream. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. We will catch you guys on Friday.